Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy, a journey through intuition, wisdom, and loving insight. My name is Khunzi. If you've journeyed with me before, welcome back, and thank you all for being here with me. This reading is for someone who is witnessing a major change in their life. I'd like to say that this is a change that you knew was coming, and you've been a big player in making it come to life. But there's this feeling of needing to witness it rather than get sucked into it completely. Just because as you transition from one type of life to another type of life, there's a lot to be contemplated. And so I'd like you to invite you to not feel stuck about it, but rather to sit for a while in it and witness the beauty of what's in front of you. I have a card here in front of me. I haven't used these cards in a long time. I used to use them quite a bit about 2 years ago. They're nature cards. This is what the back looks like, and I'm going to show you the cover as well. Messages from the Spirits of Nature Oracle. And I'm using them because I feel like that's where we are. I feel like we're at a point where we just need to pause for a moment and acknowledge the nature of transition. Just the nature of it, how it affects how you feel, how it affects how you show up. And when you stop for a moment to contemplate all of the changes, you start to feel the old parts of you coming up. You know, in that silence, you'll start feeling the old parts of you coming up. And you get curious about what they're saying to you. And I feel like what they're saying to you right now is that there are certain parts of you that you no longer need. There's a way that we carry ourselves when various places that we show up in our lives, various environments where we need to be a certain version of ourselves. And while this version of ourselves has been improving and evolving over time, there comes a point where you cross over into a different type of being and a different type of life. And those parts of you that you used to need to protect you, the parts of you that you used to keep with you to make other people feel comfortable, to make who you are more palatable for other people, all of those parts of you, the parts of you that asked you to show up to places that you knew out of obligation you needed to be at, but that you didn't really want to be at. These places that you've released. And so now this new part of you, this new version of you, still has those parts inside asking to be witnessed as they die. And not as I don't want to feel them, I don't want to look. Because I feel like they're going to sit there. These parts of you are going to sit there and they're waiting for you to say thank you. I no longer need you. Thank you for being there with me when I needed you. I no longer need you. I actually heard this in a reading last night. I was watching Witch and Scythe. I've taken 3 days off. I don't even know if it's 3 days. Just witnessing how I'm feeling through this transition. And today, as I sat with myself doing my own reading and contemplating this shift in my life and what's ahead of me, I realized that that's what was coming up in my journaling. As I sat, because I couldn't relate to that reading last night, I couldn't relate to it, but that's because I had not stopped yet to feel what I was feeling inside. And as I felt it, I realized it's a form of sadness. It's a form of pain. But it's not sorrow. It's not sorrow. It's something that's dying. It's something that's just been waiting for me, longing for me to look at it so that it can die, so that it can leave, because it knows that I don't need it. And the only thing that needed to happen was for me to acknowledge that it was there, that it actually existed, that there's a part of me that showed up a certain way because of expectation. to be able to keep up with whatever I was on, but that I no longer needed. When I saw this card, Ocean Waves, I recalled a time before where I looked at the same card. This wave is beautiful. It's stunning. Look at how the sun is shining on the right towards you. The only person who can actually appreciate what it's like to sit on a wave like this, to surf a wave like this, with this undisturbed scene, like this undisturbed view, is the rider of the wave. I can see it like that now. And when I look at this card, I see yellow and I see this bluish and this greenish color. And that speaks to me about the solar plexus and the throat chakra and the heart. All of these parts of me, that's exactly where I feel these transitions happening, in those parts of me. Within my heart, it's affecting my expression. It's affecting my expression because now my expression needs to adjust because the solar plexus, I can see my solar plexus is shining bright. But my heart needs to ease up and be felt so that what's no longer there blocking my expression can come through. And so I see this. But when I used to look at this, I can tell you about 2 years ago, even up to 3 years ago, I'd look at this card and all I felt was overwhelming emotion. I felt like this card brought into my face the reality that I was feeling overwhelmed by responsibility, overwhelmed by all these aspects that I cannot control. And now on the other side of it, at this point, looking at this same card, I can almost hear the birds. I can almost hear the birds. I can feel the warmth of the sun on my back, and I can see the beauty of this position that I'm sitting in. And I feel like the only thing that is different between then and now is perspective. And that's because the danger of the wave has not changed. The danger of the ocean has not changed. The nature of the ocean has not changed. The beauty of the sun shining on the water has not changed. The colors have not changed. What's changed is me. This next card is Dandelion Healing, number 9. And this card reminds me that I actually used these cards last year. And I remember when I used these cards last year and I spoke about how dandelions bring me back to the wishes that we make when we're in pain and we ask for something different. We make a wish, we pick a dandelion, we blow, we make a wish, and we let it go. And I feel like it's this wish and this healing that's now carried us over to the other side of this perspective of the ocean. Because again, the ocean hasn't actually changed. Its nature has not changed. And what I feel I really want to share here is, what I'm reminded of is almost like a roller coaster ride or these major slides. We have this place in South Africa called Sun City in the Pilanesberg, and there's this really, really overwhelmingly vertical water slide. Okay, I recall going on that slide when I was younger, but I was there last year and I couldn't get on that slide. It was just too scary. It's vertical and it's like, it's so high. But the thrill of coming down that slide is like no other. And what I'm actually sharing here is that I believe the best rides are the scariest. I don't believe that the surfer ever feels completely safe going out into the ocean to ride a wave like this. I don't think so. But I believe that there's a reason why they do it. I wrote something earlier which I want to share with you. I wrote, I am grateful to be an artist, a creator of work I find so beautiful and so healing. My own expression heals me. Even after creating it, I sit and listen to it and allow it to heal me. I sit back at the wonder of what I've created, even though moments before I began, I felt so unsure of what to expect. If you already know what you are going to create and you already know its outcome, is that really true art? This is a question that I'm still sitting with, because I would not want to deny any type of creation, to be honest. Either way, I don't really know how to create any other way. All I know is to create in the unknown, and I am so grateful for its beauty. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I've been on Pyramid Energy since March last year, so just over a year now. And I have not yet switched on this recorder to record a recording feeling like I know what's coming, feeling like I've got this, feeling like it's going to be great, feeling, confident about what I'm going to create, because I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no idea how it's going to come out. I also have no idea whether what's going to want to come out is going to ask a lot of me. I never know. But every single time I'm done, on every single one of the ones I've shared with you, every single time I'm done, I sit back and I look at what I've created. And of course, I ask myself, what were you so afraid of? I almost want to laugh at myself. But the reality is that to ride on this ocean wave where you have no idea what's going to hit you, what's going to happen, how this specific ride is going to be, it's the nature of the unknown. It's frightening. It's frightening. And at this point, I actually just want to perhaps draw on some wisdom on like how a surfer approaches this. And I'm not going to sit and Google how do surfers approach the wave every time. But I can imagine that it comes with a slight apprehension, not quite a fear, an excitement for sure, and also recalling past rides and how those have felt, surfs, not rides, like past surfs, how they'll feel and how it will feel afterwards and how it will feel during it. And I think that what this brings me to is like this idea of gratitude and admiration for this opportunity. I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. And I believe that it almost cannot, I'm just going to say almost cannot be asked to be less scary. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm a thrill seeker. I am a thrill seeker. I believe that the types of thrills that I'm after at this point in my life are, in the bigger scheme of things, harmless. In fact, they're healing. But the reality is that if I knew what to expect, if I knew the outcome, and it was all predetermined, I'm not sure it would be as appealing and as healing and as beautiful to me. It would be predictable. It would be predictable. And so I don't really know anything else but to say, I really appreciate this opportunity. Another thing that occurred to me when I saw this Ocean Waves card is a dream that I had 2 years ago. I was in a state of complete despair. I didn't know what to do. And I don't know how else to explain that. I didn't know what to do about my situation, about how I was feeling. I was in a rut. And one night I had a dream. I've had 2, really 3. Let me not count the magnificent dreams that I have had. The ones that are completely life-changing for me. This was one of them. I found myself, this was like no other. I found myself in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by the ocean, and it wasn't even me, it was my consciousness. In the middle of the ocean, and the hugest wave, the most massive wave was headed in my direction. overhead. So similar to this, but it was much higher than this. It took up my entire view. My entire view was this huge wave. And it rose and it rose and it rose. And it went over, above everything. And it started to curl over. And in that moment, as it was coming, it was not even in slow motion. It was like this was just happening. And I kept thinking, it's coming for me. It's coming for me. I don't have much time. It's coming for me. But at the same time, I had an awareness that something was coming, something that I was going to be fine. So even though this wave looks like it is about to swallow everything, me and everything that I am in that moment, something is coming. As the wave was supposed to swallow me, it literally opened up. And when I woke up, I described what showed up as the biggest, strongest wooden catamaran. Beautiful, like ancient. And I say ancient because I know it's a catamaran because it had those two, I don't even know boat knowledge, okay? So I'm going to do my best here. These two, what do you call them? It's like rafters, parallel to each other, okay? Sort of, they were quite straight. So this is all like one huge piece of wood and another huge piece of wood, and then a plank, a flat plank, also thick and strong, covering the middle. This thing is huge. It shows up in the middle of the ocean, and it basically says, I am here. It didn't say that. It kind of gave that presence because everything just opened up and it arrived. And in that moment, I knew it had arrived for me and it had arrived for everyone I'm with. Again, I didn't see anyone around me, but this dream is what's carried me through this entire journey. Because I actually looked up these catamarans, and I called it a catamaran because it's not a tradition, not a normal boat. And I've never seen anything like this. I just knew it came with God. I knew God sent it. I knew God sent it in the nick of time, you know. But that dream has kept me feeling so safe. It's kept me feeling like I'm never going to know. I'm never really going to know when it's going to arrive, but it will arrive in time. Irrespective of how overwhelming this wave seems and is, that there is something that's actually stronger than it that can move it out of my way for me to get onto this craft. And so I thought I'd share that because, I had another dream more recently and I'll share that another day because I believe that these, sharing dreams, it's a timing thing. But I want to share that with anyone who's listening who feels like they're in this complete unknown. And I wonder whether we have similar dreams. I wonder. But I want to tell you that you can rely on a dream. You can rely on a dream. And I believe that a dream does not show all the details about the how and the who and the when. It does not show itself in that manner because a lot needs to happen. There's a lot of appreciation that needs to develop for the environment that you're going to be working in. I believe that's all part of this kind of journey. And I think I'm also sharing this to reassure anyone who has a question. I started this channel not knowing what's ahead. I started this channel not knowing, that this is where I suppose the ultimate platform I'm going to place myself on, where I'm going to do my work, whatever that work looks like. I didn't know. And even today, I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going. I'm being completely honest. I don't know. What I know is that it's important. What I know is that I'm going to love it. Actually, what I know is that I already love it. So I didn't have the same appreciation for my work before. I didn't have the same ability to just show it gratitude, and just to, I felt very lost. I was in a very different mindset. So I've done a lot of work on my mindset. I've done a lot of work on my internal narrative and the things I say to myself, and my idea of the things that I can do, and my idea about why I don't have certain information yet. I used to think that I don't have certain information because, I'd berate myself because I haven't done this, because I haven't done that. I haven't meditated enough. I don't eat healthy enough. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do that. And now it's pretty much, and honestly, I take advice. I do take advice when it resonates. But I don't believe I'm ever late for anything. And I think today I'm just sharing this completely openly because I actually sat down to do a reading for myself. And today didn't feel like a day to read it like it's literally for you, but I know it's for you. I know it's for you because I've been on pyramid energy for 13 to 14 months now. And that has been on average something like, I think my number is 130 or 140 videos. I don't know. I don't remember the number. Those have been about 130 to 140 diary entries. This has been an open diary to my heart. To my heart. Every entry has been a ride. Every entry has been putting on my wetsuit, asking my surfboard if this is the day it's going to break when I'm on the wave. Telling everyone I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it because I love it. Even though I fear it, I love it. And so I think I'm going through this transition in this way. And I call this a transition because I feel like I'm recommitting to this journey in a different way. And I can't quite spell out what that different way means. I'm just doing this work to open myself up more to whatever may be, whatever, come what may, whatever it has to offer. I just want to stop getting in the way of it. And this is not from a routine perspective, and it's from a creation perspective, a creativity perspective. It's from that perspective. It's from, even this. I didn't approach this like a traditional reading. I took out some cards and I saw one card and I was like, I felt like I want to just talk. I felt like I want to do a reading, but I just didn't feel like reading as though I'm reading at you. I just didn't feel like doing that. Because I just wanted to take this time and honor what a gift it is to read for so many people that are on the same frequency as me, that where we share such intimate experiences. And the depth to which we can witness these shared experiences, and how much of these shared experiences we can even exchange and witness together, is purely based on how much I feel like opening up. It's purely based on how much I want to open up. Because I get so curious about all of you. I get so curious about all of you, and I also love to confirm things for you. And I love it when you confirm things for me. A lot of it is already confirmed for me in the container, and as I'm feeling through the energy, because I'm not just imagining all of it. I hope not. I don't think I am. But I just think it's such an amazing thing. 5-7 years ago, I could not have imagined sitting in a container, sharing words that other people have heard. Words I found in the container. It's insane. And I feel like even just the development of the collective that I have witnessed in the last year, because, I take a step, I take another step, but there's an entire collective that I'm part of. And so this is just my expression. This is my contribution. But I don't do it alone. So when I look at this ocean wave card, it's like I'm one of these drops, you know? Essentially, I'm one of these drops, and we're all like part of this wave. And it's in being together that we're actually able to develop together and grow together. And so way before, when I had that dream, I was not even awake and completely aware of how connected I am to my environment, my energetic environment, that I am an individual and I have my individual expression. However, it's shared. It's shared. 2552. Do you know, in this moment, I'm also just contemplating, you know, I'm having this like musing is what I want to call it, on where we might be a year from now. Again, as a collective, because so much has changed in the last year. Just so much has changed. And I sometimes wonder to myself, is it purely my perspective that has changed? Are there other environments where, like, similar to this? Because, you know, we have YouTube, but again, YouTube is like an ocean. Where you are and what you have access to on YouTube is but a perspective. You actually cannot say whether there's someone else doing work similar to yours or with a completely different like nuance or whatever it is that's maybe developed further. You know, we here on YouTube, like the conversations we hear, especially around this collective, is you know, being on the frontier of whatever we want to call it. But are we on the frontier? Is this the frontier? Or is this just our perspective? I'm going to pull another card. I believe I did. I've gone on a tangent, but what I'm actually taking a moment to acknowledge here is this opening up of ourselves is how we learn about ourselves. This reckoning with how we think it is for others. How we think it is for others. We may never know what it truly is like for others. All we have is our current perspective. And if we can sit and take a moment and have gratitude for the opportunity, somehow in that gratitude, we're able to be moved forward and grown and expanded. Because again, like I feel to you, all of us can only really grasp what we have sight of. And what we have sight of is based on how much we can share to be able, this is energy. This is energy. And so how will you know that there's a shared experience? How will you be affirmed, either through your own expression, even if it's with yourself? How are you ever affirmed when you haven't opened yourself up to receive what's out there and to share what you have to share? And this is not me encouraging you to go out and share, because again, there's been so much development in this space. I've been growing in my own way, but I've been watching all of you. Energetically, I can feel it. I can feel I'm not alone. We've taken leaps. We've taken leaps, even just within ourselves. I do believe not everyone is after a platform or anything, and this physical expression that reaches many people, not everyone is after that. But just in your development and how much you see in yourself, I can see that. And how much you're expressing yourself so differently, I can see that. I can see that. I can see you looking in the mirror and recognizing how far you've come, and how every word that you've spoken into yourself is the reason you're here. looking at this version of yourself now. And so this is an invitation again, that keep sharing yourself with yourself. Keep sharing yourself with yourself. And if you share it with others, great. But the main idea is actually to share yourself with yourself. You're the first to witness it, and you're the first to bring it out of yourself. And I know from journaling that is also scary. I know from journaling that, now I can compare YouTube to my journal, and I'm like, yeah, my journal's like pud sticks, so I can do that. But to actually get yourself to the point where you pull out your journal and this open piece of paper, and you're like, I'm going to write, and I'm going to acknowledge how I'm feeling, and I'm going to look at myself. This is the human experience. I don't believe that, especially in the times where it feels tougher, I don't believe that gets easier. Perhaps the answer in terms of the solution to this problem is to get your notepad out and start writing. Perhaps that's easy, but to actually get to the point where you acknowledge that you need to stop and just feel what's happening inside of yourself and be there and witness it, that's not always that easy. It's not easy. The tougher the feeling, the tougher it is to accept that that's what's going on. But the point is that if you look behind you, you have a trail of evidence of how far that has got you. And you also have a trail of evidence of how scary each time you take that leap on yourself is. You've actually got that. And so perhaps what we need to get used to is being surfers in the middle of the ocean where the waves are high, because it is a thrill. And you have the option of, staying closer to the shore. You do have that option. And sometimes maybe that's where you'll go. But when you're after that thrill, that pleasure, that you do have the ability to surf. You've surfed before and you can surf. That first card I pulled, my intention for it was, my bottle of water fell. That first card that I pulled, Ocean Waves, my intention for it was, where are you now? And then the Dandelion and Healing card, the second card, my intention for it was, where are you coming from? And these next two cards I've drawn for, where are you headed? Which is interesting because it says river flow and rice nourishment. And as I consider this, I have this sense of relief, because it's daunting. It's daunting to consider surfing every day. And I don't know what that feels like. Again, I don't know what it feels like to be a surfer. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do not get scared every time they go out onto the biggest waves. Maybe they don't. But this is scary. However, these cards indicate a different offering coming through, where you're going to be almost cruising. And so I see a steadiness to this, where you can see what's coming around the next turn, not too far ahead. If you look at how this picture of this river looks, you can't see what's round the bend, but you can see the stretch that's, sort of ahead of you, immediately ahead of you, which is less daunting than that ocean wave. And look at that, number 32 and number 31, which to me feels like maybe it's something that you may want to consider as a slight regression. But it's not, because it says flow and it says nourishment. And so these waters that you're moving through now are going to rather be more nourishing than volatile. And they're going to be easier on your nervous system. And when you do get that feeling where you want to ride a wave, you know where to find the ocean waves. You know where to find the ocean waves. That's what I've been trying to do for the past 3 days, is calm my nervous system. Because I've cleared out, just to get clear now, if you're listening at this point of this video, and I know this is not gonna, I just came here to share, to be honest, and just get my voice going and opening up and really just showing up more as me than anything, rather than an artist or whatever. I think I just felt like I needed that today, and just to connect and share what I'm witnessing in my own life, because my transition is that I have let go of a whole lot of things, other things in my life that I felt were getting in the way of pyramid energy. And now I feel like I've eloped. I feel like I've eloped is how I feel. That's actually how I feel. And in that eloping, it's like all great in the moment, but then afterwards you kind of like, now what? So I'm just moving through all of that, moving through this idea. What actually brought me here is this idea of what part of this is going to be regular, which aspect of this work that I do is going to become regular, because I have made the mistake of introducing fixed structures too quickly, and then I don't like them, and then it takes me months to realize I don't like them, and then it takes me months to realize I'm the one who put them in place, and this battle against myself, and I don't want to get into that battle. And the only way that I receive answers is to wait for them. And so that's when I realized my nervous system, what it was doing in this 3 days where I've just sort of taken a break to, listen to the silence and realize that I don't need to be anywhere, and I don't need to deliver anything, and I don't need to submit anything. My nervous system feels like I'm missing something. I have to check my calendar, check where am I supposed to be. I'm missing something. There's a meeting I've missed. I've missed something. And there's nothing. There's nothing. And so that brought me to contemplating approaching this container more regularly. Is that what's going to be regular? Is that it? Because partly what I'm feeling is the approaching of this wave regularly. So I'm sitting with this, because I'm sitting with this. I pulled a card asking, what does Spirit want you to know? And I got Moon Cycles, card number 23. And what this is showing me is that this feeling of riding the huge ocean wave, that's going to come in cycles. And so is the feeling of flowing with the river. However, this is all going to be around how you feel inside. This is not something that's going to be outwardly visible. And it's something to expect, is that there will be times of unknown. And that these times of unknown are times of expansion and times of elevation and times of expanding and shining a light on newly discovered complexities, is how it's coming through to me. And so that these cycles are to be embraced, and that just like the cycles, that this will be somewhat, this is what's going to be regular. This is the regularity. That's what's going to be regular, is the cycles of perspective, the cycles of what is yet to be learned, that you can feel but cannot see yet. And that this is the nature of expansion. This is what it's going to feel like, because this is still growth. It's still ongoing growth. And I believe what's being pointed out here is really to remember the nature of the space that you are moving in, and the nature of yourself, that you as well, you are part of the earth. And so how you feel also moves in cycles. How much you can see moves in cycles. And so you can expect that, but that holds its own element inherently, its own element of unknown. But that's also its beauty. And that's also what keeps you grounded as you grow. And that's also what brings to your attention that something is going to be illuminated. This card is also showing me a different perspective in that, you know, the ocean waves discussion, I felt like we were talking about like riding the wave, and then the river flow is almost like you are on the river. So you, both of these, you're in the water. But this moon cycle it kind of brings me back in terms of perspective that there are going to be times where you literally sit on the shore and just watch the water, and you observe the water, and you recognize that you're moving through a cycle. And still the beauty of it, and the mystery of it, and just to remember that you're human, and that you feel. And so there's a time to do, and there's a time to pursue, but there's also a time to just flow, and there's a time to just sit outside of the water to watch the water. I realize now that one of the things that I've been contemplating is the expectation of how one is to be as you move through. And I think it's also this idea of expectation, you know, when you realize that the only thing standing in between you and I suppose your future is you. And so you don't want to get in the way. But then that puts a lot of pressure on you. And we don't want pressure. We don't want pressure. While we need a healthy amount of pressure to keep us challenged and keep us going and growing and evolving and expanding, while we need some of it, we don't want too much of it. Otherwise, we're not at peace, and we can't flow, and we can't release, because we're kind of fighting. And so what it's bringing to me is just this reminder that I'm human, and that there is no expectation to stop feeling. There is no expectation to stop humaning. Because everything I've discovered through all the feelings and through all the humaning. And so there's really no expectation. And so this is bringing me full circle, because where I am now is just back at this place where I'm just going to sit in the gratitude of this opportunity. The gratitude of this opportunity. I keep wanting to laugh at myself as I'm going to close this now. Let me get an oracle card. But I keep laughing at myself because I think this is why people put structure to their readings a lot of the time, is because otherwise you end up waffling. But I honestly needed this. I honestly needed this time to connect. I've considered a few times in between my pauses whether I'm going to share this or not, and I'm going to. I'm going to share it because during these 3 days, again, you know, I feel like this 3 days has been a holiday, like a journey, like a lot has happened in my mind. I haven't done anything spectacular, but I've really gone inside and journeyed within myself and like witnessed what's happening in my head and like what I'm feeling in my body and like what's my head saying and like what's going on. Like I feel like, you know, I feel like I am the aquarium and I'm the kid looking into the aquarium. I feel like that. And there's a part of me that realizes that a lot of the time, because this is art, again, that I do here on Pyramid Energy, I wouldn't really consider what I've done here today as art. But I mean, it is. Whatever you want to call it. But with art comes this idea of performing. And do not get me wrong, I absolutely love what I do here on Pyramid Energy. I absolutely love it. I've just been like reflecting, listening to it, and it's totally me. Don't get me wrong, it's totally me. But I really go in. I go in when I'm doing, you know, what I'd consider like what I do here. None of it is regular, but I'm just saying, I go in and I don't give as much of my chatter the way I feel like I am today. Just saying sometimes what's on my mind. Because when you're creating this kind of content, or at least when I'm creating this kind of content, one of the things I do is I try very hard to leave my mind behind so that the art can come through in its purest form. And also so that I can ensure that there's an outcome. So I suppose that's what it is ensuring that there's an outcome when I do a reading, you know. Whereas just for today, I felt like just connecting. And I suppose normally I would have done this on video because I've been thinking about that, and I'll do that at some point. I just, you know, didn't plan this to this extent today. But I felt like just sharing. You know, normally, like when I drop my bottle, I would have edited that out or not even said it. I would have just clicked back and carried on as if nothing happened. And I just felt like connecting. Because at the end of the day, I think what I'm realizing is that we're just all humaning. We're all humaning. And another thought I had in this past couple of days, is, what if someone said to me, Khunze, joke's on you. There's actually nothing here. There's actually nothing going on. I considered that, and I just thought to myself, wow, maybe a few years ago I would have believed you, but not today. Not now. I've seen too much. I have felt too much. I have proven too much to myself to think that this is not real. I'm at the point where nothing physical, the physical stuff, the stuff that I used to consider so real, doesn't feel as real as this. To have had the opportunity to connect with my spirit as much as I have on this channel, I cannot imagine this being taken away from me. And I'm not referring to the channel being taken away from me, which who knows what the future holds. You know, you never. Spirit says don't say that. Huh? We don't know. I don't want to instill any fear in anyone. I don't want to bring any fear. I just mean I'm referring to not being able to connect with my spirit in this way. Because if something happened to YouTube, you best know I am still going to record my voice so that I can listen to what I have to say when I'm recording. There's a difference between laying out cards in front of me and looking at them. I can sometimes write them. Writing them is also healing. That's why I spent some of that time writing readings and sharing them on the community page. But to express myself allows me to witness myself and watch myself and hear myself. I heard somewhere that the most healing voice that exists on this earth is one's own. And so that's why I keep saying shamelessly that I find my voice healing. Because I do. It's not always been the same, but I find my voice healing. And I think it's amazing to be able to find one's own voice healing. And I want you to know your voice is your most healing too. It just needs you to try it. You know, I find it amazing to have witnessed the evolution of my voice. I'm not even referring to the words, even the way the words are, the way they come out, that has shifted, but the sound of it. I used to listen to my voice and cringe. I didn't like how I sounded on a recording. But the pitch has actually dropped. The depth has deepened. It's changed. My voice has changed. And also when I open a container, my voice sounds different to if I was sitting across a table from you chatting. And I'm not saying it's less healing. It's just that I'm not listening to it the same way. And so I'm not almost like when I'm talking on a recording, it's like my voice is water and I'm riding its wave. That's actually it's like I'm sitting in my voice and moving in it, which is very different to how I would just chat to someone until I drop into Sometimes it's not even conscious. It's not conscious when it happens. I drop into a flow and then I just allow it to happen. That's another part of me that, I'm just getting cards. That's another part of me that I used to hold back. I used to hold back going into flow if I was speaking to someone. I'll only move into flow if the audience is receptive to it. If the audience is receptive to it. And so what's changed is that I simply no longer suffer an audience that's not willing to have me in flow. This is one of the things I do not need anymore. I believe I used to drop into a flow if I was speaking to someone, and if it triggered them, I would retract. They would push back, I'd retract. It wasn't working. But if I can't be this best version of myself, and this version of myself that I love, that is comfortable and that is in flow, and that can be that open where information just flows out of me, then I think that I'm better off rather finding new places that do allow me to be this version of myself. 5115. I believe that these are places that are receptive to their own ability to expand, places with people and things that do want to grow and do want something they want to grow into reflected back at them. I want the same. I want to be surrounded by people that reflect growth, my own ability to grow back to me. And so I'm allowing that, I'm embracing that now. And as I sit here, I'm just thinking about how much my nervous system doesn't like anything else. And I recognize there are still places where I'll have to show up. And I don't want to call it pretend. I suppose it's conform for whatever it is. Like, that's definitely not at the supermarket. It's definitely not on this channel. Maybe, a parents' meeting, I might hold back a bit. Yeah, but otherwise, I'm recognizing that my body doesn't like it. My body doesn't like my heart, my mind. None of us like being asked to be someone else. Something else is coming up for me that came up this morning, and I don't know where it came up from, but it's coming up again now. It's to please save yourself from people, places, and things that put you down. Save yourself from those places. Remove yourself from those places. I don't usually give such a direct piece of advice, I don't think. But this morning I felt its importance because it's a denial of self. It's a denial of self. To be around people that put you down, and I do believe there's a place for dark humor, and there's a place to be funny and for banter and, to make jokes and all of that. But don't allow people to put you down. Don't be at those places. You shouldn't even have to defend yourself from those situations. I wouldn't even defend myself. But do not grace these people with the pleasure of your presence. There's a place out there that's waiting for you just as you are, waiting to affirm you. And the more I remove myself from these places, there's another thing that I've noticed. It's like over time, it's like my chin lifts slightly. My facial stance lifts slightly to a healthy point, not to a proud, super proud point. That's not what I mean. And when I smile, my smile is more genuine. And you know how I know this? I know this from looking in the mirror. I know from looking in the mirror. And when I smile, if I'm smiling more openly, if my heart is open and I'm smiling genuinely, my eyes light up. My eyes light up, and when my eyes light up, I can almost see the energy leaving my system and going into the other person. I can feel that. So what you're actually being asked to do When a place makes you feel put down, or when someone puts you down, what you're actually being asked to do is to drop your chin, hold your head a bit lower, smile a bit less genuinely, glow a bit less for someone else's comfort. They are unconsciously asking you to do that. And I don't like to focus on whether people do this on purpose or not, because I don't believe that's the ultimate point. The point is that they actually do not have the capacity to receive all of your energy. The energy that is flowing out of you when you are at your best. They do not have the capacity to receive it for whatever reason. And so don't allow that energy to be trapped inside of you if it's wanting to come out of you and be shared. If it wants to lift your chin and make your eyes glow and make your smile glow and make you happy and make you feel good about yourself. Don't trap it inside. And definitely don't let the external world trap it on your behalf. This recording is almost an hour long now. And you know what it reminds me of? I'd want to say back in my younger years. You know, when you go out and maybe at a restaurant or whatever, generally civilized environment, and lots of drinks have flowed or whatever it is, and it's now past closing time. And I suppose the person running the restaurant is still there, the owner, and just a couple of people left. And you start playing music, choosing music, playing it loud. There's a restaurant that we used to go to long ago that was like that. And some of the best memories were made. And it felt very naughty, and but it was just such a rich time, because you've overstayed your welcome, but only those who really want to be there are there. And I know, like, we are 56 minutes and 56 seconds in, and I just feel like obviously not everyone's going to listen to this far into this recording. And if you're here, I really thank you, because you are one of the people that have held it down for me throughout this journey. I know that there are people that listen purely for, traditional readings, and I know that there are people that listen to every single reading, and I know that there are people that listen in cycles, depending on whether we're in the same point of the wave or not at a time. And I appreciate absolutely every single listener. But I know that there are listeners that will stick around for an hour, and I think that's why I wanted to show up this way. Perhaps share more of my more normal voice, so you can actually hear how often I giggle when I'm just talking, because I giggle way more than I giggle in a normal reading. And I also feel like this video, personally, I just feel like it's just so self-indulgent for me to sit and just shoot the breeze like this for so long, with nothing actually, with no outcome in mind, with no particular goal, but to read some cards and connect and just talk and share what's on my heart and share what's been on my mind, share what's been solved and share what hasn't been solved yet, because it's not all been solved. And share that I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling confident. However, I'm feeling paused, not in a bad way. I feel like this is a time for me to honor this transition. It's a big deal for me. I never knew when this day would come where I'd feel this kind of freedom. And by this kind of freedom, I mean a day where I'm not considering looking for a job. I'm not considering looking for anything else. And I'm not sitting in discomfort, but I'm just sitting in admiration of how much courage I've had. And also that I showed my courage. And then on the other side of it, I found all of you. Along the way, I found all of you. And what big hearts you have. And how much you honor yourselves, and how much you work on yourselves, and how connected you are. And to be part of this shared experience is just such an honor. And so thank you for allowing me to indulge myself so much. This card is Beyond the Threshold of Fear, card number 25. Let's read from the guidebook. It says, enter the lion's jungle. Don't think about getting hurt. Fearful thoughts are phantoms of the mind. No one is harmed in this jungle. Everything is compassion and love. It is your fear holding you back, like a bar behind the door. Rumi. I think I'm not even going to make my thumbnail the usual one, because I know with certain types of videos, like if I do a live or if I do anything different, anything that's not the traditional thing, the numbers don't go as hard on the algorithm or whatever you want to call it. I'm actually just not even going to give a full explanation of what I'm sharing here, because I don't even know how to describe this, but I'm going to make it a personalized love note. So that's why I wrote this in my own handwriting. I just feel like connecting today. Back to the guidebook. How I celebrate for you. After so long away from home, you are finally returning. Beyond the threshold of fear, you dispense with your doubts, hesitations, cautions, and tentativeness. They are old friends with whom you no longer have anything in common. Goodbye, old friends. I wish you well, you say, whilst turning your face to the burgeoning light of a new and yet ancient world. You are visiting as though for the first time, and yet, somehow, also remember deep in your sacred heart. Finally, we can sit together in the charming courtyard at home. We shall tell our tales of adventure and laugh, and will dance and sing. Eventually, day shall pass into night, and we'll gaze beneath our feet, our mouths gaping open in awe and minds utterly blank, rendered dumb in sweet submission to beauty, as we watch the world spinning on her axis. After so long, you are changing your relationship to fear. No more shall it hold you in its thrall. You are becoming able to observe it, to witness it, even to have compassion rather than resistance. Instead of unconsciously sabotaging your growth and choosing to slumber in darkness, you awaken and delight in the light and sound of your divine being. This is making me emotional because this guidebook is speaking directly to a lot of what I spoke about. And I'm also recognizing new things as I'm reading this. Push and pull, one step forward and a half step back. So it has been for so long, and you have endured. Yes, you are winning the race, brave one, and fear is left to fizzle out. It was always a far less beautiful firework than your passionate conviction for love anyway. Better to let that dazzling firework come to light instead. Much more satisfying. Oh, what a spiritual marathon you've been running. Now the end is in sight. You are drinking the sacred waters to replenish you from your journey. The cups are pushed into your hands by encouraging angels as you approach that blessed sash marking the finish line. Your body and soul are on this journey together, and now they are ready for victory, and yes, to rest and recover from the effort. Rest now before a new adventure begins from a completely different state of being. This oracle comes with spiritual guidance for you. You have broken through a barrier, a self-imposed barrier of fear, whether it seemed to originate from within your consciousness or from an external set of circumstances, that held you back from taking the steps you are now taking or just about to take. These steps may feel strange, new, uncertain, and exciting. Your mind might not have received the memo that fear-based existence is no longer in operation for you. It may need a loving, tender, reassuring, and firm update that the relationship you have with fear is now rather different. You are the witness, not the victim. Your consciousness is strong enough to hold it in compassion. You don't collapse under its weight. In fact, it is becoming less and less substantial for you. When it is there, it seems less convincing than what it once appeared to be. Compelling still at times, perhaps, but not anywhere near as powerful as it once was. That power has been claimed by your heart instead. So give your mind the memo. Get used to the new way and take steps. Test your legs. You'll find them powerful and ready. Get set to fly. Test your wings. Trust is one, daring is the other. You'll find them enthusiastic for flight and ready to learn to ride the currents, purpose-built for soaring to great heights. Trust in your vision. Without the murky filter of fear, it is sharp and clear. You can see what is meant for you, what is true for you, what is beckoning you forward now. Take the running leap. There is no darkness and light for you anymore. Just life, living, free, and clear. I'll be running and flying beside you. We'll soar and dive and rise together. Let's play. I feel like that spoke so much to my journaling today, our conversation that we've had here today. I feel like I've moved through this idea of how my nervous system is responding to, this feeling of anticipating riding a wave, surfing a wave, but also coming back down to, I don't need to have that fear. I just need to have that compassion for myself, and I just need to have that appreciation for this opportunity, because that's what I've been after the whole time, is this opportunity. I want to read this other part of my journaling that I wrote today, just because of what this Rumi oracle card said. I'm going to share it with you. I wasn't going to, but I am. It says, "The last time I was unemployed, I felt so lost, in despair, so much time, but feeling like it's escaping me, like I'm sinking into quicksand. I felt like I had to take a step, otherwise gravity would suck me in below the surface. I'd lose my ability to stay afloat. Sand felt like time. And now I feel like the sand is waiting on me to put my footprint into it. This reminds me that all I need to do is put one print into the sand that's right in front of me, at a time, and also that footprint can only come to pass upon my step." I get emotional as I contemplate this freedom I now have. As soon as freedom comes upon one, they feel it in the opposite way. But that's because it places a responsibility onto oneself. So for now, I feel like the best place to put my gaze is into gratitude. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you all more than I can explain. There's only so many words one can use to show gratitude and describe love. And I truly hope that you can feel it, because I feel yours. Sending you love.